I moved out of my childhood home when I was 16, which is a really weird age to do that. And I think most of us have been through that experience. It's so beautifully represented in this show, and it is such a life event that really sits with you. And when we filmed this scene where we're in our empty childhood bedroom, and it really lands then. And I think it's really grief that we all experience at very different parts of our lives.
This idea that we kind of look at our parents as people who know everything, they're authority figures, but when you realize that they're just figuring it out too, it's kind of devastating, but also freeing in a way. And I think about Mark a lot in these first two episodes where he's talking about like, you guys had to really grow up so fast, or I'm sorry I wasn't there for you in this instance. Can you both speak about that concept of childhood and adulthood, but also empathy for parents in the way that they are also figuring things out and dealing with the situations as well as the children, but they have to be stronger for the kids?
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh,
You
yeah.
you go.
No, I thought you both had one.
Oh, no, yeah, I don't have one.
Well, I just want to speak to, because it's a great, very deep question, but like with Mark himself, when we were talking about who's our dad, the casting question of who is our father, we couldn't have found a better dad that you have true empathy and sympathy for, which I think is really important for all of the characters, like, because they are very faulted and have a lot of things wrong with them, but you have to, as an audience, feel for them. And so casting people who you genuinely feel for, same with Betty Gilpin, like you just really want to take care of them in a way. And so I think that finding the right actors was important in that aspect of it, but you could speak to the rest.
And it also speaks to your character too, and she's cheating, but I understand and feel her pain, I'm empathetic towards her as well, and I understand that she doesn't want to hurt her girlfriend. So I love that the show kind of tackles these gray areas, you know?
I was just going to say that, yeah, parents are people too, but the consequences are much bigger for when they don't act. They're supposed to be adults. And I think so much of the show is about kids being confused and about an adult who didn't know how to let them know that everything was going to be okay. And I think that's the big thing is it's okay that parents are people, but the thing that was, I think, really missing was a parent to let them know, I know it sucks right now, I know it's confusing right now, but everything is ultimately going to be okay. And I think that's kind of where the trauma of their childhood actually lies.
Yeah, and he even says that in one of the lines where he says, "I'm sorry, I wasn't able to do that for
Yes,
you."
right.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like I didn't get to do that for you, which is, and then you're flashing back to younger footage. The nonlinear structure of this show is remarkable, and I liken it to how we all have our own memories. We think of things non-linearly. We think of things completely out of order, and it's all jumbled together in that way. The way you deal with the childhood home storyline to me is very interesting because I have it. Childhood homes are so interesting because when you go by them now, you still feel the longing for it, but it doesn't look the same as it ever did when you were there. It was just really kind of sad, but also kind of a idea of what you're saying in the show, like where the childhood home means something to you both, but you kind of have to move on from that in a way. But can you both speak about childhood homes and kind of what that means and kind of the vulnerability that brings up in characters, and if you want to speak about that for your own self as well.
Yeah.
Well, you wrote it.
No, but you have experience with childhood homes.
I do. I moved out of my childhood home when I was 16, which is a really weird age to do that. And I think I've never seen that concept, which most of us, not all, most of us have been through that experience. It's so beautifully represented in this show, and it is such a life event that really sits with you that you don't really see. It's just something that's not ever covered, and it's such a good thing to pick up on. And I remember watching the show for the first time and being like, wow, I didn't realize how much them missing their childhood home was such a part of this show. I missed it when I read the script. It just didn't land with me until I watched the show. And when we filmed this scene where we're in our empty childhood bedroom, and it really lands then. And I think I mean, yeah, it's really grief that we all experience at very different parts of our lives, or sometimes people end up staying in their childhood homes forever, but most of us, I think, don't. And it's a really interesting way to look at grief, because you're weirdly, I find, I mean, it's why I have 30,000 photos on my phone, because I feel like if I don't take pictures of something, I'm going to forget it. But I don't have any photos inside my childhood home, because maybe I didn't have an iPhone at that point, I guess. But like, how it would be interesting now, I guess, to be maybe the people that are 16 or 10 now, they will have that. It's kind of interesting to think like I'll never have those photos, and I'm really just relying on my memory to remember that period of time in my life. It's thought provoking.
100%. I mean, you look at the rocking chair. Yeah. Like, I mean, like that. It's almost like he can't let it go. It's. But you've tapped into something that gives me chills, because like, if I think about going through my childhood home, there is like the strangers that live there now. They're making their own memories there in a place that we did, and I'm wondering if you could speak to that in the writing and kind of finding that a core.
Yeah, I actually don't remember my childhood home, which is really interesting, because the show was always about that, and I just tried to think of it and feel it from Harper and Hal's perspective, and I really remember writing that scene where we are on our backs in our bedroom, and you say something like, the ceiling looks so far away without a bed. And I just remember I wrote that just because I was just thinking about what it would feel like. And it made me think of we're now, my parents are actually selling the house that I moved into when I was like a freshman in high school. And they're not, the house isn't ready, the house that they're moving into isn't ready yet. So they're actually sleeping in this house with just a bed. And I was like, does that feel similar to Hal and Harper? And they're like, oh, we hadn't thought about that. Yeah. But it's really, yeah, I love how he can't let go of the rocking chair. It's not because he has like such amazing memories of the rocking chair, but it's just, that's the whole show, is feeling a little frozen because of this rocking chair, because of this time. And I forget what he says. He says a line to the realtor that I really sums it all up, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but we know the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah. And Lily, I've said this to you before. This is my favorite performance you've done in your career. I mean, you have to watch the rest of the series if you haven't seen it, because I mean, the final episodes are just remarkable. And it's like, I remember seeing you for an interview after the show, and I was like, are you okay? Like, because like you really feel her arc, and that whole, everybody's earned their arcs, and the music and the score and everything that kind of comes together. I've asked you this before, but saying goodbye to characters is really interesting to me, and I feel like you've said the characters kind of stay with you in a way, right? Because I feel like acting is beautiful. You get to live the life of somebody you're not. You get to see the world through someone else's eyes. I imagine you gain insane levels of empathy for certain types of people when you play certain types of people. But talk about your goodbye to Harper, and I guess if people haven't seen the end of the show, we'll kind of keep it vague, but just your personal letting go of her, and what aspects of her are with you as we sit here right now.
Well, it's different for every project. This one, I knew Harper for a year before we started shooting, so and Cooper, we got to get to know each other, and then we had a 3-month shoot or something like that.
50 days.
And so she was with me. I mean, I was on a 7-year TV show, so it's kind of different, but also like when a character really sits with you and you feel empathy for them, it can be hard to let them go. And it's kind of usually not on the last day of set where you feel sad. It's more like when you finish watching the thing for the first time, you go, oh, I missed them. That's how I experience it. It's not on the last day of set. It's when I watch the project for the first time and I go, oh, there she is, and I'm realizing that I miss her. But I don't have any like ritual that I do to say goodbye. It's more like I know I have the privilege of being able to go back and watch the show if I want to again, which is great. But she sits with me, and I remember her, I think is a good way to put it. Like I remember her and I love her, but ultimately, yeah, you do have to say goodbye. But she lives forever on Mubi, I guess.
It is kind of a beautiful thing. It's like that's like movies. You like the characters do live forever. In 100 years, someone's gonna flick that back on, and you're gonna come back to life as that character. Like I'm watching Buster Keaton movies right now, and he's alive on my screen.
Right.
That's 100 years ago or whatever it is. When I talk to anybody about this show, there's a lot of deep personal connections that people make with it because there's so many characters that are relatable to everybody who's watching. I have to imagine that on social media or when you run into people who've seen the show, they're sharing stories with you about what the show means to them, how it affected them. Don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have a particular fan encounter or somebody who has told you a story or something meaningful about what this show meant to them that really struck you?
I remember, I think we were at Tribeca and we did a Q&A at the end of Tribeca, and a young guy was in line and he just kind of started crying during the Q&A. Do you remember? And he was like, my sister and I can't wait to watch this with her. It feels like a representation of us. And he just said it in a way that we didn't need to ask, like, what's going on with your sister in your life? It just, you could feel it meant something to him, and that's because of like the tears in his eyes and the emotion that he had, and he was so excited to get to watch it with her. It just means, it just, to me, I didn't even need to hear anything else. It's just, it meant a lot to hear that someone could, anything that you do, when someone watches it and it makes them cry or feel something. My younger sister, who doesn't cry at anything, cried in the finale of this show, and I was like, got her.
Yeah.
And it
You
feels
all will
nice.
too,
It feels
trust me.
nice.
Yeah. What about, I mean, as the creator of this, I have to imagine you've had people tell you what this has meant to them. Do you have anything striking that comes to mind?
Nothing striking that comes to mind, but just people's reactions to it just make me so emotional. Like it to like it's almost too much to read people's experience because they want to relate or like share the experience, and I want to hear about their experience, but it reminds me so much of my experience with it, and I do feel like I was like, when you were talking about saying bye to Harper, I still feel like I'm saying bye to Harper. And sometimes when it feels like we all want to talk about, like when people reach out or message on Instagram or something, it feels like we all want to talk about how when they're long messages, I'll say, like those are ones that are harder to engage with because it's like, it's just so messy and like the energy hygiene is all over the place. But my favorite messages are when someone will just say, thank you. I watched Hal Harper to thank you. And those mean a lot to me because I don't have to engage with anything. It's just like, it's just like thumbs up.
Lili, you and I have spoken about this before. I want to bring this to you, Cooper. Like art is so cathartic. You know, like as an audience member, I find so much catharsis in what I watch. Can't imagine from your perspective when you're playing it out. I think Ben Stiller spoke about like the idea of like when you're acting, your body doesn't know you're acting. So you're putting your body through these emotions. Your mind, you know you're acting, but like you still have to conjure it all up. I guess the question to you about saying goodbye to Hal, but also catharsis that you found in your own life playing him, as you sit here on the other side of it talking about it, you know, going into work on new projects after that. Like, what did he give you?
Such a mirror. I did not like playing Hal because I did not like facing how similar I was to him every day. Like it was so easy to drop into Hal, and I was like, this is too easy to play this annoying kid. But yeah, I have it with Harper, and maybe it's through Hal because Hal probably like I miss Harper all the time. I think about Harper all the time, and I see her in my dreams, and I don't see Hal in my dreams, but maybe my dreams are as Hal dreaming about Harper. But yeah, this I've only made 3 things, but this is the thing that I can just tell will always be the thing that I've made that I think about forever, for sure.
You know, you're writing, directing, producing, starring, creating the show. score and soundtrack are really interesting, and I know soundtrack is expensive.
Yes.
You open the show with a Sabrina Carpenter song.
We do.
And I have to imagine that was a pretty penny. I don't know even how that works in licensing, but like
We don't either.
but
Rob Lowry does.
it's incredible. I mean, like, but a song can really set the whole thing
Yeah.
up for you. It's like kind of mind blowing what a song can do. It reverberates in your mind the rest of the show in a way. But Cody and Clyde's score
Yes.
is incredible because, like we were talking about this earlier, the way the camera moves in this show is extremely. There's a docu-style a bit to it. It feels like you're watching real life, which is, I believe, the intention. But the score becomes. It feels like I know the score's not there, but it feels like it's there.
Yeah.
Does that make? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's such a living, breathing part of the show, and it's such a piece of movement for the way the camera moves, the way the characters are blocking as well. Can you speak about music, but also how you juggle soundtrack and score? Sometimes movies are really heavy soundtrack. Sometimes movies are really score driven. Same with shows.
Yeah.
So you do both.
The music really is the storytelling for me in this show because it was such a cheap show to make. We didn't have like all of the camera moves possible. It was shot like a documentary, and so in editing, the music really had to drive the story almost in a way. Like the show is so carefully about these people that the score and the theme of each piece of score was a really helpful driver. And it is a character, but it's a character with a lot of intention in terms of just telling the story. Whereas, like, I never want the characters to be secretly working to move the story along. I always want to be truthful about who they are and what they're going through, and the overall story is kind of, it's hard to push it forward when you're trying to really replicate life. But the music for me in this show was the ultimate storyteller.
It was interesting. Phil Lord recently said about Project Hail Mary, the score of the film knows the ending of the
Yeah, yes, that's what I was just like. That is the
blew my
perfect way to say
mind.
it. Yeah.
And what like because the score is almost like keeping you safe.
Yes.
In a way, it's
Yes.
like it's so strange. This is a really strange transition, but the way there's something interesting about watching characters eat. And here's what I mean by that. Like if you watch the first 2 episodes, think about what the characters are eating: McDonald's,
Cereal,
ice cream, cereal is a huge part of the show. There's something really cool about that. I don't know why, but it makes you. There's something intimate about that. I guess, can you speak to writing scenes?
I think that there's an intimacy to it, and that's why I'm drawn to writing it. But also, cereal is like a weird motif in this show, and it's like when I think of my childhood, I don't have many memories, but I remember the cereal. And I don't know why that is, but it's such a big part of that big montage in the 6th episode, and I wanted to set that up, and it's like kind of funny in the beginning when I'm like munching on the Bunch Crunch so loudly, and you're like, Hal, you can do that like in your room. What do I say?
You say you're posted.
Oh, I'm posted up. Yeah. But yeah, cereal and what else do we eat? Oh, ice cream. Yeah, ice cream. It's always like a bit, and the bagels aren't a theme, but the ice cream is definitely a theme of like give the kids ice cream to shove the pain away.
Yeah. Oh, because right, because you guys are standing outside that, and you guys, let's get chocolate bagels. What do you say? Yeah, you say that later on,
Yes,
right? I remember that. I remember how
yes.
that came back around.
That's
I want to bring this up because you guys all saw the first 2 episodes. At the end of episode 2, you're kind of getting a glimpse of Lily and Cooper as their present day selves in their childhood in a way. And the opening of episode 3, which is incredible. I think that's the episode where the camera goes up from Mark Ruffalo. It's unbelievable. And then we enter this world. Can you explain it to the audience? This is so cool. Like basically Lily and Cooper go back to school as their present day selves, but the kids don't react as if you guys are your older selves.
Yes.
This is incredible. Explain this.
So in the 3rd episode, you get a glimpse of it at the end of the 2nd episode, and in the 3rd episode, you kind of start with the dad character feeling really, really stuck, and at some point he, I won't spoil it, but he there's a hole in a wall, and the camera goes through the hole in the wall, and out pops the camera in the in the past, and then we reveal that the show goes into the past, but we're playing ourselves as kids, and the kids around us don't acknowledge that we're super tall. But it's funny, when we were actually filming the scenes, that's all they could talk about. Like the whole time we were filming, they were like, "Why are you so big? You're not in first grade."
I was watching both of you. I mean, obviously, when you watch something, you put yourself sometimes in the character's shoes, and I thought a lot about like what it would feel like to go back to school. I mean, like just on a personal level, school. I didn't have a great time in school. I got bullied a lot and picked on. So to go back as like this older version of myself, but be there as this me is such an interesting concept. I was wondering if you could speak to that as an actor and kind of what that meant for you. Like, did you find that connected you at all to your own school and kind of how you felt as a kid in school?
I also hated school. I was very attached to my mom, and I like cried on the first day of school every day, first grade, kindergarten, second grade, because I didn't want to leave my mom. And I think 10th grade, 11th grade. No, I really just hated school. Yeah, even now. And I think it's always interesting for me, not more so on my younger self, but to see there's never a scenario where I'm surrounded by third graders. Like, why would I? Unless, yeah, that's just creepy. Unless I'm a teacher or work in the field around a bunch of kids. But so to me, it was more so it was just weird to be around a bunch of kids because I am not a child myself. I don't have children. I don't find myself to be great with kids, and I've admitted that. So like I'm a little awkward around children, and so I guess it helped me for Harper for sure to feel isolated from her peers because I felt like left out of the group of third graders I was surrounded by. You know, like when the camera cuts, these kids are talking to each other and I'm sitting there being like, well, they're not talking to me. So it's just, I mean, it kind of worked really well for Harper's. If you watch the show, you see Harper is not social. She's not interacting with her peers. She's not interested in them. But there's a sense of like, if they were interested in her, she'd be interested in them. So it's just a feeling of being left out, and it kind of helped for me to feel a bit, not like a kid person necessarily, being surrounded by, were they 9-year-olds?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I almost feel like it would have been easier for me to be around 7-year-olds because there's just no like, I don't want to say no consciousness, but they're not. Yeah, they're just yeah. They're a little bit more poised when they're 9 and they're like kind of judging you a little bit. And I think the 7-year-olds were probably just like,
they all understood acting. The 7-year-olds were. It was funny when we were casting.
Yep.
When we were casting. David Rubin, the casting director, great casting director, was showing me a lot of a little bit older kids, like than what they were playing, and they were kind of like they were all acting, and they were pretty good actors. And I was like, were there any like actual 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds? And he was like, yeah, but they were duds. And I was like, and I said, I think I want to watch those. And as soon as I started watching those, I was like, this is the show. This is the show that we're making. And I think not that any of the actors in the show are duds. They're amazing. But how, they didn't, like, especially this younger ones did not have any sort of, like, they were not self-conscious at all. Mm-hmm. And it was so fun to, they didn't even know they were on camera. And it was so fun to just play around with them, and the way that they would just look up at me was just so priceless.
Yeah. I got to wrap things up. I just want to say one thing. Lili, she's been doing such amazing work recently. If you haven't seen, I mean, all of her work's been amazing, but Forbidden Fruits is incredible. You're amazing in this. Cooper, you're a phenomenal director. Touch on Real Smooth. Please check that one out as well. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Looking forward to all the projects you guys are both doing. Just a reminder to people to check out the rest of the episodes on Mubi. If not, you can go to Prime, Amazon Prime, and just sign up through Mubi through there. It's really super easy. I did it today to rewatch the show, and it's really easy. So definitely check it out. It's a show that I think we all need just to feel something. You know what I mean? So thank you to Lili Reinhart. Thank you to Cooper Raiff.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Anyway, guys.
I gotta wrap things up. I just want to say one thing. Lily, she's been doing such amazing work recently. If you haven't seen, I mean, all of her work's been amazing, but Forbidden Fruits is incredible. You're amazing in this. Cooper, you're a phenomenal director. Touch on Real Smooth. Please check that one out as well. And I can't wait to see what you do next. Looking forward to all the projects you guys are both doing. Just a reminder to people to check out the rest of the episodes on Mubi. If not, you can go to Prime, Amazon Prime, and just sign up through Mubi through there. It's really super easy. I did it today to rewatch the show, and it's really easy. So definitely check it out. It's a show that I think we all need just to feel something. You know what I mean? So thank you to Lili Reinhart. Thank you to Cooper Raiff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Anyway, guys.